Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're breaking down one of the hardest but most rewarding events in Arc Raiders, the Harvester puzzle. You've probably seen the massive queen, but she is guarding something incredibly valuable. That's the Harvester. And inside is a high stakes puzzle, and honestly, there isn't any clear guides out there yet. So this is going to be the most straightforward, step-by-step guide you'll find. No filler, just everything that you need to know to beat it and walk away with some of the best loot in the game. Okay, to start, you can only do this when the Harvester event is actually active. That's the only time when the husk is even available. So check your map before loading in, look for the queen, and make your way to her. If the event isn't active, the queen and the Harvester husk just aren't there, and it's as easy as that. Now we're going to move on to actually getting past the queen. And this is where I think a lot of people struggle, because you don't actually need to fight the queen to get in. She's tanky, she hits like a truck, and unless you're geared to the teeth, it's a complete waste of time. Instead, you've got three main approaches that will work really well. Starting off, Prophetic Cloak. Prophetic Cloak is a gadget in the game that you can actually use to stay completely invisible to Arc machines. This went really under the radar during the tech test, and using this, you can sneak around her slowly and stay completely invisible without having to ever engage her. And this combined with a zipline could be really quick and good. And that brings me to my next one, Zipline. Ziplines will help you move really quickly, and if you get to the ground and just snap the zipline straight to the husk, you can get in and get out within no time. And obviously the third one is smoke grenades. Unlike other games, smoke grenades actually work in Arc Raiders, and they block the line of sight of the queen or any Arc machines. And honestly, you can pick the strategy that works best for your team, or just what resources that you have available. Cloak is safe, smoke is simple, and zipline is incredibly quick. Now, how do you actually get into the Harvester husk? Well, once you reach the Harvester husk, there are three main entry points on ground level, and those are the vents. Once you get to the vents and you pry them open, a 45-second timer kicks off, and when it ends, fire floods the inside of the husk, so don't stay too long or you'll burn to death. Now, this is really key. There are 4 exit points. Remember them. There's one at the very top of the husk, which will be more important later in the guide, and there are 3. The other 3 are the main vents that you actually entered into. You can use those as your exits. And once the timer is done and you get out, the vents will close again enough to repry inside. Now there's a visual indicator of this happening. On the ground, in the middle of the core, or the middle of the husk, I'm just going to call it the core, there are 3 strips of lines. And when those turn red, that's when the timer's about to be up. And that's when you need to disembark and get out of the husk. Now this is the main loop that this puzzle requires. You crack the containers, which we'll get more into in just a second. And then once the fire comes, you get out, pry back in, and continue. And this is strictly the loop that you do for the first phase of this puzzle. Now, once you get inside the husk, there are 2 levels. The upper deck, where you'll find randomized breach points. You need to search these until you get the containers tied to the actual puzzle. And then there's the lower deck. This is the slot area where you insert the containers once you've found them. Now we have to do this in a specific order, so I'll explain that. Now one last thing, while you're inserting the containers, the Harvester will sometimes trigger what I'm calling a core overload shock. It stuns you, drains your shields, and stuns your reloads, but it doesn't kill you. Just wait it out and keep working. And during this time, the fire phase stops. Now, once you find the containers, drop them down to the lower deck. You then need to go down to the lower deck yourself and find the middle core area, which is self-explanatory. Now there are 3 buttons surrounding the middle core area. Each one of them corresponds to a pillar that will come up that you have to slot the containers into. So, step by step, this is how it works. You find a core, you drop it down to the lower area. You then go down to the lower area yourself and press one of the buttons surrounding the middle core. That will bring up the pillar. You need to slot the container in the pillar and go back to the same button that raised it up and you press it again. That will lower it down. Once you do this for all the containers in the husk, then the next phase starts. Now, after every container is locked, the husk goes into its last phase, which is what I'm going to call the yellow valves phase. They appear around the structure, and you need to shoot them out or hit them with your melee weapon. Now, due to the reload cancel from the core overload that I mentioned before, I would melee them. This way, you aren't worrying about reloading. However, do whatever works for you, because high power weapons can make easy work of these valves. After all the yellow valves are broken, go to the middle core again, and press the buttons that you used to raise up and lower the pillars, and press those all again once. Then the lights on the floor will turn green. Once this is all said and done, 3 yellow containers drop from the center of the husk, or the center of the core. These hold weapon blueprints, and right now, they're some of the best that we know are in the game. That's why this event is so critical. That's essentially the full guide, but now I'm going to wrap it up with a couple tips that can help. Starting off, killing the queen is optional, but usually not worth it unless you're trying to get her core for the level 3 refinery in the hideout. Just keep in mind that that's something in the future. Also, running this solo is technically possible, but obviously not recommended. The fire cycles and the random spawns make it incredibly challenging to complete alone. Obviously, bring utility, smokes, cloaks, healing. This will totally save your run. And again, learn the exits. If you only remember one thing from this video, remember the exit points. They are your whole lifeline during the raid and while you're trying to get the loot out of the harvester husk. And that's the full harvester guide in Arc Raiders. Now you know how to get past the queen, survive the harvester puzzle, and walk away with those high tier weapon blueprints. If this helped, please hit the like button and let me know in the comments what guide or just advice that you'd love to see before the launch of Arc Raiders. Now, in the next coming weeks, I'll be coming out with a video that covers a guide for the server slam. This will have everything from the tech tree to a new website that I found that can really help your raids and just help you overall. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.